หัวเปล่าวะ
ว่ามันเป็นสีน้ำเงินที่เรา
อะไรเป็นสีน้ำเงินอ๋อ
ช่องหนึ่งอะ
ไอ้สีดำเข้มนั่นเหรอแล้ว
ดู
ถ้ามันจะทึบขนาดนั้นเขาเอามาให้ทำอะไรวะ
มันออกน้ำเงิน
แต่ถ้ามันจะน้ำเงินจาง
หรือว่ามันเป็นสีเทาเข้มอะ
แต่เขาจะเอาสีเทาเข้มแล้วก็สีดำมาให้ทำไมวะ
อันนี้มันสีเทาออกน้ำเงิน
ถ้าสมมติว่ามึงอยากได้สีเทามึงก็แค่เอาสีดำผสมน้ำมากขึ้นไม่
ใช่
ได้เหรอเอามาให้2 อันทำไมวะ Hello oh I need to notify people totally forgot about that give me a sec okay first stream I get to watch hell yeah yay welcome to the stream your fictional universe is beautiful thank you very much yep so I felt like streaming so we're just gonna draw and talk I guess that's literally the plan for today I've been like working on this I started working on this yesterday so I just want to continue working on it and then we'll see where the conversation takes us I guess or well I do have first 10-hour stream nope that's not happening I'm never going to stream that long Jesus recently into your channel just saying you got me into world building well that's great um some bad news I guess that's going to be coming as I settle into talking about what I wanted to talk about this stream basically I decided I wanted to start the stream just so I can complain uh so you'll bear witness to that you'll bear witness to me just complaining to you about non-issues that uh that plague me. Fear and hunger vibes. Yeah. I'm really happy about how it turned out. Even though it's like really rough, I like the vibe of it a lot. It feels very fear and hungry and very much intentionally as well. Um looks like a Greg to me. Is Greg? Okay, Greg it is. But yeah, what was I gonna talk about? Okay, this is how serious the topic. Well, seems like every topic's serious in that case. I was gonna say this is how serious it is. I have to put down my pen to talk about it, but that happens with every topic. I can't draw and talk at the same time, so I'm putting down my pen. I guess this is a yapping stream now. Uh, already from the get go, you're not gonna get to see me draw, which is typical at this point and expected. So, I jumped on stream right after having worked on a script for a new video for the whole day. I've spent all of today working on a script, and I spent all of yesterday working on a script as well, the same script. I give up. I can't do it anymore. Like, the thing that has been plaguing me since the start of making videos is there's a conflict. There's there's a conflict. There are two wolves within me. There is one wolf loves, absolutely loves the process of conceiving ideas, drawing, talking about world building. I absolutely love it. And the other wolf absolutely hates talking about the process. How are those two things possible? The first one is in the moment, right? I love talking about the process and I really enjoy it while it's happening. That's the whole point, right? I love it on streams. I love brainstorming with you guys in chat. It's so much fun, right? The second one is I hate it because I have to recollect or whatever, however you say that word, and write about it in the aftermath and attempt to recapture that enthusiasm and fun that I experienced a second time, which is impossible. It's a it like that's what I've been struggling with in videos for the whole you hate us? No, no. when what? Where the hell did that come from? But no, I've been making videos for like a year now, and the whole point, or like I've gotten a stronger idea of what I want to capture in videos. This is gonna take a while for me to like form my sentences. By the way, I might be jumping around a lot, and it might be confusing of what the hell I'm even talking about. Hopefully, it'll coalesce into a more coherent ramble at the end. But at the moment, I'm just trying to grasp at straws, figuring out where I'm trying to come at this from, or what angle I'm trying to come at this from. So the reason I've been making videos is I've been trying to capture what I love about art, right? And the thing I love about art is that creative process and brainstorming and branching ideas and trying to like mash them together and see what comes out. That's the fun part. And with videos, I've been trying to figure out a way to properly capture that. And I'm giving up on that, I think. I think I've given up at this point. This script that I've been writing has pushed me to the brink of my patience, I guess. I can't capture that same feeling. It's impossible. It's impossible. It sucks. Like it's like obviously it's not as exciting as a roller coaster, but I'm going to use it as an analogy. It's like I rode a roller coaster and then instead of showing you me riding the roller coaster, I described to you what the roller coaster was like and why it was fun, right? That's what I have to do in videos. And that just, it eats away at my soul because, like, how the fuck are people, or how am I supposed to fake the enthusiasm of that? Because it was fun. I know it was, right? I was on it. I was on the damn roller coaster. But now I need to tell you that it was fun and convince you that me being on that, or when I was on that roller coaster, I was having fun, right? How the hell do I do that? Like, yeah, I can write a script telling you, oh, it was so exciting when it went down really fast and my hair blew back and I lifted my arms up and went, wee! But you see, like, there's something missing from that. And obvious thing that's missing is I'm telling you it afterwards. It'd be a lot more easy to show it if it was in the moment, you know? And it hasn't gotten easier with like in the year I've made videos. You know, I've been getting more and more appreciation for those channels that manage to pull it off. Like those channels that make it seem easy. those like art channels or like crafting channels or like any channel that involves talking about something that takes a long time and is fun in the moment but is hard to express the fun in the aftermath. I am incredibly astonished how they are able to like convey that excitement in the form of videos, because I've tried it now and I can't make it work. I absolutely can't, right? Like those art channels that talk about their process and actually make it sound fun, and they're like, "Oh, and then I came up with this idea and that idea." And I've tried it, and I've sort of like managed it in some videos, but like you don't know how many takes it took for me to sound at least the slightest bit enthusiastic about it. I can't act like that. You're a good writer, but you don't want to be a journal. I guess. So like I I don't think there's a way for me to express the process in the aftermath. I think the only way that I can manage to do it is if I just show you edited footage of it in process, right? Which means I think what would fit the most would be to just do a bunch of streams and then edit those streams into videos, right? Instead of relaying the information in the aftermath, I just show you the fun, right? The brainstorm. I just show you that. That'll be its own little pain to do because I hate myself in streams. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate it, the Mercon. I wonder if there's any writing tutorials out there. I guess no, but okay. I hate listening to myself in streams as well, so that's also hard for me to do. Um, because I can talk in the moment because I don't have to think about it, right? I don't use many brain cells to talk, right? But when I listen to it back, of course, I regret a lot. I hear the ums and ahs. I hear my tendencies to say like a lot, or I use too many swear words, or the sentence I spouted out didn't make sense at all. And it just, I haven't managed to edit a stream into a video yet because every time I look back at the streams I've done, they seem they seem completely incoherent afterwards. You might overwhelm yourself with the need to do enough streams to make a video and then editing those long streams. No, I think I'd be more happy to do that rather than torturing myself by trying to force myself to write fake enthusiasm for what has already passed, right? I can't do so. The breaking point. I mean, it's the last straw that broke the camel's back. Was the most recent script I've been trying to write because of this like struggle to try and uh capture what I like about art. I tried going at it from a different angle again. And what I came up with was this. Hold on, I'll send you. I'll put a screenshot into the stream. Also, this is just me ranting, by the way. This is just me ranting. If you are listening to me complaining about this and are thinking, "Huh, this sounds like a non-issue. Like he's just, like he gets to do his own thing and it's just like, it's hard to write." I know. I'm a fucking wuss. I'm not saying I have a hard issue. I'm saying I'm a little baby who can't come over, like who can't get over his little writing issue and can't just fake some enthusiasm for a video. Um I am spoiled, incredibly spoiled, and this is a very much non-issue. I just want to complain. But yeah, anyway, what was I going to say? This. Oh, somebody's already on it. Get your hands off of my fucking mind map. Yeah, thank you. Shoo. He's blocking the. Yes. I know. Okay, this. I. The head's popping over the. Okay, fair enough. He wants to take a little bit of a peek. I'll let him take a peek. But yeah, this is what I tried to do. The issue that I thought I had with the scripts that I was writing to encapsulate the feeling of brainstorming an idea was I thought the issue was the scripts were linear, right? They were explaining the process in a linear fashion, going down the line. Oh, I thought of this idea, then I added this, then I added that. That didn't work, then I removed it, then I added this other thing. Oh, what about this? What about that? That's how I've been talking about it in the videos. And it just but that's not how it works, right? Because and it works more like this. So I tried to write it out in this way because an idea doesn't just go one after the other. It jumps around like this, for example, for this um soldier. It like spreads out like a mind map. It's a mind map. I don't know why I'm making it sound like this magical. It's a mind map. Uh and so like this mind map does a way better job at capturing uh why I like drawing than my videos do. I feel like this mind map actually is better than my videos because of how it captures that feeling more. You know, it might not look like it, but to me this is more valuable because it shows instead of just being, I did this and then I added that. It's this. This is a starting point. Invincible soldier. I want to design an invincible soldier. And then you can see how it happens. You can see, okay, well, we can make them impervious, like Superman, bullets bouncing off of them. No, that's boring. I don't feel like doing that at the moment. You could do regeneration, like Wolverine, and the interesting part about that could be what the regeneration looks like. We could do nanomachines. Maybe it's flesh and blood, sinews stitching itself back together, or would it be, um, or like, does it use some kind of resource or something like that? And that would be the interesting part of that. But I was like, nah, okay. What about if we make them invincible by having them be able to replace their own limbs and parts by repairing themselves? How would be able to do that? Well, we could make them a golem or an automaton, but well, I do want them to be actually a living human. So we could do bio augments, replaceable limbs, stick limbs back on. But I thought, well, in the world, bio augments do exist, but they're very resource intensive to create, and also they can still bleed out, so that doesn't really work. So we need something more drastic than that. Ooh, what about cursed soldiers? And then it goes here. It's like, oh, Rom harnesses curses and creates their own like curses by mixing curses together from the ones they've taken from witches and create their own curses to infect their soldiers with and create their own cursed soldiers. So maybe that's what we could use to make our invincible soldier. Um, and then it goes, well, what kind of curse would they create to make a soldier that can replace and repair their own limbs? Well, a doll can be like modified and have their limbs replaced and stuff like that. So what about a human doll made of like wooden cloth? So make a curse that turns people into dolls. Then that means they can easily repair themselves mid combat. How? Well, I guess they need some sort of sewing kit, some sort of sewing supplies that they get issued. Also, they might have some sort of device on their hip that they can use to like boost their curse to like quickly stitch their limbs back together or something like that, like a quick hit of mana into their system, something like that. maybe they could have multiple legs or arms. If they're made of like cloth and wood, they can just sew extra limbs onto themselves. That might be an interesting idea. You could also just attach equipment right to their skin. They're made of cloth now. So it would be interesting if they just sew pouches and straps to themselves. They don't need harnesses. That could be cool. Also, spare limbs. If they, it would be really cool if they have just like spare limbs hanging off of them like a cloak. I feel like that would be visually interesting. But where do they get those limbs from? Well, it'd be interesting if they, if the same way their curse like turns their body into wood and cloth, that would be the same with like, you know, if you attached a corpse limb from like a random body in the trenches, just stick them onto your shoulder, like sew them on, and then just, you know, boost the curse, and then just have that turn the corpse limb into a wooden puppet limb, and then you can use that as a spare. So they create their own spares by just taking corpse limbs, attaching them to themselves, and then turning them into puppet limbs and then just keeping those as spares when their own get damaged and worn out. They just take them off and then put the spare ones back on. So how do they collect those? Butcher knife. So that's a little bit of a sudden end, like, oh yeah, butcher knife. Weird, but yeah, and that also like gave me their like sort of nickname. Like they probably have multiple nicknames on the battlefield, but one of them would definitely be butchers. Oh, it's kind of cool. They'd have like a big butcher knife they just used to cut people's limbs off and stuff to like turn into spare limbs. Um, but then it branches off more. It's like, okay, well, we have this cool idea here with soldiers that can heal themselves and have spare limbs and stuff like that. But there's something missing. There's like a character missing from this, and the thing that is, or the thing that's missing from it is consequences. You know, they're cursed soldiers. Wouldn't it make sense that their curses have consequences, right? Curses on their own are already incredibly dangerous. So it only makes sense that there would be countermeasures put in to maintain the curses. You'd have to have like drain holes put in that drain a brackish bile that oozes out of, you know, that grows inside you as the curse like engulfs your body, that has to be siphoned out to keep it from like taking over your body. And then they have like pouches of syringes that they have on their hip that they like inject themselves with to like control their fluids or whatever. And they also like siphon out that bile and keep it in vials so that like the scientists and stuff can collect them afterwards so that they can use those to further develop curses and use those to like continue building or continue creating more strands of curses in the future, stuff like that, you know. And then we also have to think, okay, that's curses in general. Curses in general, you need like vials and syringes and tubes and stuff like that to maintain them. But then what about this curse specifically? The puppet curse. So they got turned into a puppet. They're made of wood and cloth now. They're pretty much invincible. They can't bleed. Their limbs can fall off and they can just sew them back on. Any wounds can just be plugged up or sewn up or whatever. Doesn't matter. There has to be some drawbacks to that. It can't not just be all good, no bad. It's in the name. It's a curse. So what about material degrading? So the thing, obviously, now that they're made of wood and cloth, they're slowly falling apart. Our bodies are made of flesh. So when we experience wear and tear from just day-to-day living, walking, moving, that heals. We heal ourselves. But because now they're made of wood and cloth, even the act of existing by itself would degrade them over time. Their bodies don't heal the way it used to when they were flesh. Um, if they get a scrape on their arm or the soles of their feet start wearing away from walking through the trenches, that doesn't come back. That just falls off, which means they eventually just have to keep replacing bits. They and Yeah, that's the end of that thought. They have to keep replacing bits. They don't heal naturally anymore. That's the first downside. Well, let's go deeper. What would the downside or what would the consequence of that be? Well, if you think about it, they're basically a walking ship of Theseus, right? They're invincible, but eventually they would have to replace all of their own components, right? So I wrote the ship of Theseus now. It's like, oh, that'd be interesting. Like, yeah, they would basically, or they would eventually just not have anything of themselves left anymore, and all of them would have been replaced. Well, what would that do to a person? So so what would that do to a person? Well, it might cause some sort of loss of identity. It might make them start losing, yeah, grasping with a loss of identity. And we could play more into that. Let's go deeper. Let's go deeper. What if the transformation um no, hold on. Yeah, what if the transformation into a doll is brutal. Like it's absolutely brutal. You're forcefully getting turned into a doll person. And boils and blisters like pop up on your skin as your skin flakes off and tears away as the wood underneath tries to push its way out from as the wood underneath like pushes its way to the surface, which means that it could mean that they're like smaller details like facial features get lost in that process. So they basically like lose any discernible features um on their face. So that like plays even deeper into the loss of identity. Okay, now they have to like replace their limbs constantly so they don't like degrade. And also they literally their face falls off when they turn into a puppet person. But it wouldn't end there, obviously. Let's go deeper. I guess that's the catchphrase for this design. Let's go deeper. Um, well, now there's a loss of identity. Obviously, they wouldn't just leave it at that. You'd want to combat that. Why would you, you'd want to prevent the loss of identity. So what seemed to make sense to me was, oh, it could be that these soldiers that get turned into puppets make masks that resemble their former selves before they got turned into puppets to try and keep that as like a tether to their humanity, you know? So they make these masks that look like themselves, um, to keep a little piece of their humanity with them, even though they've removed and replaced every bit of themselves. They still have that mask to look to. Issue is, not all soldiers would obviously be able to make perfect representations of their own face. Like, not all of them are artists and sculptors. Like, why would they be able to make perfect masks of themselves? So obviously, Rom, the people turning people into soldiers, would be the ones responsible for making these masks. But that wouldn't be fun. Or it wouldn't be fun if that was the end of the story. It wouldn't be fun if that was just the end of it. If it was, oh, they have to fight with the loss of identity, but don't worry, Rom has your back. They'll make a mask that looks exactly like you, that is a forever tether to your original self before the transformation, so you can keep that shred of humanity and waltz into the trenches and live forever, forever happily ever after as an undying soldier in the trenches. That wouldn't be fun if that just solves the problem. What would be more fun would be if Rom, uh, or what would be more fun would be if it's not perfect, right? The same way these soldiers are mass produced by Ram, they would also mass produce the masks. The task of making these masks is dealt out to random like metal workers and blacksmiths who already have their hands full. You know, these these people have to mend hundreds of pieces of armor per day and work on guns and fixing things and making new weapons of war. And now you're tasking them to make like a random, like a mask of this random schmuck, like they don't have the time for that. So the thing is, these masks are very hit or miss. These the people that get commissioned to make these masks for the soldiers that get turned into the puppets are very hit or miss. They sometimes they like sort of look like the person, but most of the time they are bad. They are bad. And it would be even more fun, and it would make a lot of sense that, of course, Ram, being the reasonable country that they are, they would, of course, only inform the soldiers that get turned into puppets after they've been turned into puppets. Why would they, why would you want that to be a known factor in the process that would discourage people from wanting to, sign up for this program to turn into an invincible soldier? Oh, by the way, you'll lose your humanity and you'll go insane, and we'll give you a mask, but it's gonna be shit. Like, obviously they'll hide that fact. So perhaps, like, when you sign up this program, you get to sit down in front of one of these quote unquote artisans that'll create a perfect rendition of your face in metal for you to wear for forever. And you'll get to sit down in front of them. They'll bash a few hammer blows into the mask, like on a bust that's sitting opposite from you, and they'll go, "Okay, good," and you're like, "Oh, good. Can I see?" And they're like, "No, no, you'll see." You'll see it afterwards. You go and, get turned into a puppet soldier, and Ram tells you, "Don't worry, bud. It's gonna be fine. They captured you perfectly." And then you get turned into a puppet soldier, your face melts off, you turn into wood and cloth and fabric, and then you finally get to see your human mask, the last shred of humanity that's left over for you to remember yourself by. And it just looks like shit. It just looks like absolute garbage. And that would lead to next slide, or next step, frustration. I feel like it would be so fun that the soldiers would just absolutely go apeshit at the sight of their mask. I mean, obviously, if they've been told and made to believe that this is going to be the thing that, quells their concerns, like, "Oh, am I going to, like, go crazy, or, like, I've heard some bad thing." No, don't worry, the mask is going to help you with that. "Oh, okay, the mask. And then they see the mask and they go, "What the fuck? Like, that doesn't look, who is this guy?" And they just go absolutely apeshit. But at that point, it's too late. Like, they to what end? They've already gone through the process. So they have to accept the fact that their mask just doesn't look like them, and that makes it so a lot of these soldiers um start developing a tendency to try and improve their own masks. So they get handed these masks that don't look anything like them. And as soon as they get handed, or not as soon, but like after a while, they'll start trying to fix it themselves. I mean, obviously, Ram's not going to fix it for them. They've given them this piece of scrap. So I'm just going to make it look like my face. Like, I can remember what I look like, right? And so they start, like, hammering at it in like the trenches when they have time between missions. They'll, like, work at it, but that gets, like, harder and harder over time as they start, they don't have their face anymore, and memory is not a good thing to go off of. So their idea of what they used to look like just starts twisting and warping as they, like, just keep working away at this crude mask of metal. They're not artists either, so they just keep messing it up and making it worse. So a lot of these soldiers end up with these, like, just hideous, I don't want to be rude, but, ugly, like, bucket helmets that are just misshapen and, like, bent out of shape with, like, bullet holes and like frayed edges and rust streaks and, like, bits of hay sticking out of the top as they try to, like, maybe like make something that resembles hair that they used to have or something like that. So that's why they have these like haunting masks. It's just them trying to remember what the hell they look like, the last shred of humanity they have. um but yeah. And then uh another side effect, so we're done with this strand, or this branch of the idea, I guess. Going down a little more, another side effect of the curse could be, well, they turned into puppets, so the obvious side effect of that would be they lose a lot of sensations. They lose the sense of touch, or they lose their sense of touch, they lose their sense of smell, they lose their sense of taste, and that's not good. And that combined with, the ship of Theseus thing going on, and them, their face falling off, and them having a shitty mask, all like culminates in them disassociating with the world around them. So these soldiers, like, this is what helped me like get an idea of how these guys function, by the way. Because before I like went down this branch, I was sort of thinking to myself, like, I was stuck at a moment. Like, when there was a moment in the process of designing these guys where I hadn't considered the consequences of the curse. And so I was just stuck with this half. I was stuck with this half of the idea, and I thought I had a good base. I was like, okay, cool. We have puppet soldiers that can replace their own limbs. They have spare limbs on them. They have a cool like butcher's knife, and they can just like fix themselves up in the trenches. That's a cool idea. And I started sketching, but like nothing really came of it. I sort of just slapped random features onto their face, but nothing stuck. All of it just sort of like fell off because there wasn't a clear direction of like why they would have those details on their face. And I didn't even know how they would stand. Like, it sounds cool. Would they walk through the trenches like a Terminator, just like marching, badass, invincible soldiers in the face of gunfire? Or would they be like slumped over and sort of like droopy because of the heavy like fabric that's saturated with the wet trench slop or something like that? I didn't know, so it was like sort of ambiguous. But this is what really helped me. Like, when I realized, oh shit, I completely forgot to like consider the consequences of the curse. That really helped me start to like piece together what these guys would be like. They wouldn't be cool killing machines that are like invincible soldiers in the trenches. They would be miserable. These guys are miserable. Their life sucks. They're invincible, but at what cost? They can't feel anything. They've lost any shred of their former selves. So they would just disassociate. They have lost touch with the world around them, just mindlessly trudging through the trenches, following assignments and filling out tasks with just in a dreary haze because they don't have anything anymore. Like, what are they supposed to do? They don't feel anything anymore, right? And yeah, so which then helped me figure out how they would go about fighting. I was thinking about like, okay, so how would they engage in combat if this is like how they are? Well, I feel like it makes sense if they are just walking at people. Like, they've lost everything. They don't give a shit. It's so they're just like lumbering at people. You can just see these guys just walking through the trenches, like hunch over their heads, like tilted to the side, sort of looking at the ground, just walking into enemy trenches. They're shooting at them, but the bullets are just like, they're invincible, and they're just like loosely holding a butcher's knife, or they're like piece of junk of a gun that's been like fixed 3 times over and rusting. And they're just walking at people like that. Yeah, I've lost that train of thought. Never mind. Never mind that. But yeah, that made sense to me. And the reason they're walking at people could be, well, they know they're invincible. Like, if they fall, their arms or legs fall off, they'll get them sewn back on and they'll get up anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, they don't have to be careful. Or it could be that they're walking at people without a care in the world because, well, it doesn't really matter to them if they're gonna get up. Or maybe they wish that if they just walk at them enough, one of these days, they're just not gonna get up anymore. Finally, you know? So yeah, that helped me like really figure out what their personality would be like. And then that also made me think, oh, from that like very dark and like sad note going to, oh, that would make it so they have more protection on their legs. But it makes sense. Like, oh, if they're just walking at people, the main weak point of them would be their legs, right? Their arms can be blown off. They can fix those while walking. But what can slow them down is their legs getting damaged because that takes a while and they also can't keep moving if their legs are blown off. So their leg armor would be thicker than everything else. So they'd have like braces and thick like shin guards and thigh like armor to protect their legs as much as possible so they can just keep walking at people. And also to help show that like disassociation and uncaring nature that they fall into, their clothing should reflect that. Their clothing and armor is just tattered. It is falling apart, just rotting off of them because they don't care. Why would they? Like they're invincible. They're not gonna get hurt, and it doesn't matter what they're wearing looks like if it just holds up the equipment they need to do the thing they were told to do. That's it. But yeah, that's how this design came about. And that's a lot more interesting than or this is a lot more interesting and a lot more fun to look at than the scripts I normally write in videos because it really shows how it branches out. Like you can see at the start, I was quite brief with like I knew this wasn't going to be I knew these weren't going to be the branches I explored further, right? This was the option that was appealing to me. So I literally just went off of vibes. I was like, oh, this one is appealing to me at the moment. I wanna explore this one. Like if I went down, if it was a different day and I felt like drawing a soldier that regenerated instead of like fixing themselves, I might have come out with a completely different design. Or I could have thought of a soldier that was impervious to bullets, had like that had like some sort of power armor that was made out of a magical metal, or maybe they had my favorite version of imperviousness is when a character has a companion of some sorts that like deflects or absorbs damage for them. That is awesome. Like Gaara from Naruto. Naruto. Like Gaara from Naruto. Jesus, I don't know how to pronounce that in English. I've never tried to pronounce his name or Naruto in English. That's the first time I've said Naruto. But yeah, like that sort of idea where it's like, oh, they aren't impervious themselves. It's that they have some sort of countermeasure that is like hovering around them that is faster than them and stronger than them that protects them. Like Venom as well. Venom is a good example, I guess, of that kind of imperviousness. Um the Mercon, thank you for the 5 USD. Can they add extra limbs because large monsters with logs for legs like the sentinels in the last witch hunter? I mean, yeah, it would make sense. It makes sense if they also sew on limbs from other creatures and turn those into puppet limbs, and then they can use those. That's a fun thing I didn't actually think about. So we can definitely add that to the tree. But yeah, like this shows it way better. You can see like, oh, wasn't interested in this. I wanted to go down this tree, but like the detail increases as I go further down because I get a stronger idea of where I'm going with it. At first, it's like very short, like a cursed soldier, maybe like a human doll. But then it's like, ooh, they could do this, and then it like gets longer. It's like, oh, what about curse boosters? And it's like, what about the manufacturers of the mass test are unqualified artisans? Like I just get carried away, and it turns from a mind map to a fucking a whole damn paragraph. But yeah, it shows the it captures that way better than any script I can actually write about it. So I just give up. I'm giving up. I can't write scripts about this damn thing anymore because I tried. I've done like 4 scripts trying to talk about this mind map. I can't, man. No, he didn't notice me. No, I did. I'm reading you right now. New goal: donate $10 every stream so that I can automatically be number one. Well, I, I wouldn't stop you if you want to. Go ahead. I'm not complaining. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Yeah, that's the end of the rant, I guess. I'm frustrated that I can't write the same passion into what I love, or I can't write the same passion about I I can't write the same what the I can't write the passion I have and the love I have for brainstorming and designing and exploring an idea the same way I can talk about it on stream. So I'm just gonna give up and I'll just edit stream footage and turn that into videos. Maybe I can like dub like I don't have the same problem with lore bits, by the way. I can talk about lore all day long on in videos. Like I love talking about lore. I don't know why or what's the difference in that. I guess because the fun part about that isn't the in the moment enthusiasm or excitement. It's more the idea itself. Like I'm telling you the cool idea that I had. So I guess that's why it's like easier to do that per chance. Yeah, I should use the word per chance more. That's a good word actually. Need to add that to my vocabulary. It's also more time efficient, I guess. Yeah. So I hope I could maybe yeah, that rant I just did about this whole issue I've been facing. I hope I can turn that into a video, I guess. We'll see. Uh but yeah, that's it. That's it. That's literally all I came in to stream to complain about. Is that? That's it. Oh, thank you for the $2, Lofi. Lofi? Lofi. Lo-fi. Just scroll up the chat. Wait, did I miss it? Oh no. Did I miss your Oh shit, I did. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to miss it. I didn't hear it. I'm sorry. I was too carried away with my own with my rant. Thank you for the $10, Lofi. I very much appreciate it. Hello, funny creature man. I've come with a request. I think a werewolf guy would be awesome and cool. Yes, yes. Take my shekels and coins. Thank you. I appreciate it. Uh, I agree. I like werewolves. Werewolves are cool. We should do werewolves. You know what? We should do werewolves right now. Actually, no. I should do werewolves. I'll definitely do werewolves on stream. I can't do it now because I literally decided to hop on stream just to complain about this to see if it cures my problem, and apparently it did. So we'll see if I can turn that into a video. Um, but also it's really late. It's like almost midnight. It's gonna be midnight in an hour. So if I start like if we start doing a brainstorming session about the werewolf now, it's gonna lead way into the night, and I don't want that. I want to save my sleep schedule's good at the moment. I've saved it from the brink of again. I have this tendency of talking myself into dead ends. Like I start sentences and then realize halfway through the sentence that I don't know how to end this sentence. And then I just need to stop and then reset. I've done that so much. I okay, but yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. My sleep schedule is good now. I don't want to ruin it. A witch wolf. Yeah, I feel like an interesting way to approach wolves, to approach werewolves would definitely be to do cursed soldiers. We've already started it with this, like have a cursed invincible soldier. So like making a werewolf, I feel like I'm talking gibberish again. I need to slow down. Using cursed soldiers as a base to make a werewolf would is a good idea. Yes, thumbs up. There you go. That's the end of it. That's the end of the sentence. I should not. I should slow down and actually think about what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm sorry. I guess. Yeah, I've just realized I said in the stream I was gonna, or I said I was gonna draw, but I didn't end up drawing, and now I don't feel like drawing anymore. So yeah, I tricked you. I tricked all of you. I just subjected you to a rant about my very minor inconveniences. Wah wah, poor me, poor artist. And now I'm gonna leave.